Justin Rose knows his way to the top of the leaderboard at Augusta National. The task of staying there has eluded him. Rose finished round one with a 3-shot advantage, and here, a thing of beauty into Golden Bell, number 12. The picturesque par 3 would be a birdie there for Rosie, who plotted his ball around. He remains his position atop the leaderboard at 8 under. Rory McIlroy, I won't call it Phil from the pine straw, but this was something special. Second shot into 13 to 9 feet from 214, and maybe the body language tells you a little bit right of his intended start line. He'd make the eagle there, the catalyst in what was a round of the day 66. Bryson DeChambeau had a hot first 9 and stalled in the midst. Then at 17, one last circle for the card as DeChambeau sits in second at 7 under, tied for the most birdies made at 12 through 2 rounds. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler trying to do what no man has done in 20 plus, and that's defend a green jacket. Here at the par 3 12th after a long approach, distance control again the issue, but no issue when you chip it like that. Scheffler staying in the mix, but a bogey at the last, T5 at 5 under. For more, we say hello to 2 members of our Golf on CBS team, Shane Bacon and Doug Bell, offering their thoughts following round 2. And guys, we got to start with Rosie here because he finds a way to stay at the top of that leaderboard. Maybe not the most impressive round of golf we took in on this day, Doug, but it was sort of locating the pitches and finding the right spots to pick off a couple more birdies. What do you make of the staying power as we look forward to the weekend now?
Well, Joe, I think Justin Rose showed a lot of staying power today, and I think he was happy with a 1 under par round, which still has him at the top of the leaderboard and in position to do something that he desperately wants to do. And I think, speaking of staying power, now we need to also mention a story that hasn't been talked about. You know, he wasn't qualified for the Open Championship last year. He had no exemptions left. He had to go through sectional qualifying to get one of those spots. Finishes top 10 to earn a spot in the Masters. So Justin Rose, listen, he's a major champion, but he was out of exemptions. And so he's making the most of his special spot this week. And wouldn't that be something if he holds it together and holds off some of the biggest names in the game right now? I can't wait to see if the 44-year-old can do it.
Joe, I'm going to give the 44-year-old as big a compliment as I can give him. He resembled today, and the game plan this week has looked a lot like a 5-time Masters winner that won in 2019 when he was in his prime.
Wow.
The game plan was set before the tournament began. And when I say that, I mean, Justin Rose has laid out how to play every hole to every hole location, and he's playing like we saw Tiger play at Hoylake. And I'm the 3 woods off the tees, putting himself in position. I go to 8 today, not hitting driver there, hitting 3 wood. It's been very, very intelligent golf. It looks like Scottie Scheffler in terms of a modern player, and I've been extremely impressed because he has continued to stick to the game plan. Now, things were going to switch. He's going to play with a guy tomorrow that hits it 50 yards past him. And if he can stick to the game plan, which I'm sure he can, I think he's got a real good chance to do this. The putter has been incredible. Some of these golf shots, when he has taken aggressive lines like the one we saw there at 12 and this at 16, I mean, this was wild to take this whole location on. This is as much fun a golf as I've had the pleasure of covering in my entire career today. And Justin Rose was a part of it, because he went about his business differently than any of these young players do, especially at Augusta National.
Special stuff here from Justin Rose through 36 holes. And in respect to 2019 and that game plan, I will say Francesco and Tony are not walking through that door. It's a different cast of characters, as you allude to here, Shane, one of them being the world number 1 in Scottie Scheffler. Not your straightforward 1 under round by Scottie. It was a circuitous route to get there with 6 birdies and 5 bogeys. But as we project him onto the weekend, well within the mix here, what are those 2 green jackets worth that he takes with him?
Well, it's the experience that he has around this golf course. And it, again, kind of goes back to what I talked about with Justin Rose. Him and Ted Scott have this incredible game plan. Not just here. They have it everywhere, and they stick to it. I mean, you saw it at 18. Did anybody think he was going to make 6 when he was under that tree? Did anybody in the room, anybody watching golf, think he was going to make double? I didn't. I'm sitting there watching it with a former PGA Tour winner, and we're like, he'll find a way. You know, I mean, that's just what this guy does. Most of the time at major championships and most of the time at this golf course, especially the way it plays in modern times with the length and how tough these greens are, you're going to have a tough, quote-unquote, bad round. This felt like the bad round for Scottie. Made a whole bunch of bogeys, and he still shot around under par. I'm not worried in the least about the guy. I mean, history says he's not going to win, but I think for Scottie Scheffler, he can look at today as, I didn't have my best stuff. I missed a few putts. I didn't play the way I typically play, and I'm still right there. And everybody on this leaderboard's got to be scared when they see the Scheffler name, especially at Augusta National.
Yeah, Shane and Joe, he was 8 under par after 36 holes when he won in 2022. And last year he was 6 under par. So at 5 under par, he's kind of in the same ballpark. And he admitted after his round today, nobody was really talking about the wind. And it was really swirling in those pines. And this is not an excuse. He just said, hey, it was blowing my irons off the mark, and that messed him up a bit. Hit only 12 of 18 greens, 11 of 18 yesterday, so the irons have been off, and that was that inexplicable run from 7 to 11 when he dropped 3 out of 5. It's very rare that he has that many bogeys over a 5-hole stretch. So we'll see if he can reel it back in, as they say. Again, he was out of the range working on things, and it was an off day. But again, he's not that far off compared to where he was his last 2 wins at Augusta.
Bogey-free through his first 23 holes here at Augusta, his longest streak to start a Masters in his career, but he does find himself a few back due to those struggles in the midst of this round. Shane, you alluded to the relationship on the bag there with Teddy, and Teddy obviously comes in with 2 green jackets or 2 Masters wins prior on Bubba's bag. So if we want to add them all up, we're talking about 6 wins on that bag heading to the weekend. What does that mean to Scottie? I know there's just the utmost trust in one another there, but to be able to hand his brain over and just hit the golf shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. You know, we've followed Scottie the last couple of days on the feature group coverage, and it's incredible just the language that is said from Ted Scott and the confidence he gives them, what he says after golf shots, when he is out of position, kind of the faith he has in Scottie's abilities. Ted's an incredible caddy. I think he was incredible for Bubba Watson. You know, Bubba Watson is a guy that can get extremely up and extremely down. Scottie, not so much, right? As a professional golfer and especially as a young man. And I think Ted can kind of handle personalities. And I think, you know, a lot of the time we can overrate caddies in certain instances. You know, a player switches caddies and we think, oh, here we go. But I think for Ted Scott, the relationship is more than just we work together. I think they're truly friends. I think they kind of have faith together that works really well for each other. And I think Ted looks at Scottie as someone he looks up to. And I think Scottie looks at Ted as somebody he looks up to. And that's not always the case when you think about player, caddy, coach, player, if you go outside of golf and into other sports. And I just continually am impressed by the way Ted Scott goes about his business, not just as a caddy, but kind of as a friend, as somebody that Scottie can lean on in the most pressure-packed moments.
You know, when he took over that bag 4 years ago, he gave him a lot of advice. There was a lot more talk coming from caddy to player than there is now. And if you watch it, and I watch Shane and the guys today, there's not a lot of conversation. I mean, Scottie, he may get approval, a vote of approval from Ted, but this is Scottie's ball game. So we'll see what happens. Again, they are a great team. There's no question. And I think if you're ranking caddies, even though I don't think caddies ever hit a shot, but I think if you're rating caddies, and they do get a lot of play now more than they did 10, 20, 30 years ago, I think Ted Scott will probably be considered the #1 looper in the world today.
Hey, Stevie did all but roll in that putt for Adam Scott in that playoff. Moved him what? What did he say? A couple more cups? Couple more cups, and that was the story in this one. We'll see how these teams come together. I do want to talk about duos, but pairings, that is. Let's roll up our sleeves here, Doug, because this is really just a buffet of ball strikers and some of the best in the world occupying the first and second page of this leaderboard. Who has your undivided attention on Saturday?
Well, it's got to be the final pairing. Bryson DeChambeau is must-watch television. He's reality TV at its best. They say sports is the best reality show anywhere. Bryson DeChambeau is reality TV. I don't know what to expect from him tomorrow. He's played his best 36 holes ever in his 9 years of playing the Masters. He's now 31 years old, and he's talking about patience and being conservative. I was like, who is this Bryson DeChambeau? But I love it. And he's playing with Justin Rose. We've talked about that, how special it would be if somehow at 44 years of age, Jay Rose can pull it off. I'll be watching those guys. And as Shane mentioned, to think Bryson DeChambeau, who's the longest player in the field this week, they measure distances on 5 and 15, and he's way ahead of everybody else, and certainly way ahead of Justin Rose. But it'll be fun to watch the different game plans. Although I will say this, I think Bryson DeChambeau will take a page out of Justin Rose and be very, very patient and very conservative heading into moving day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Doug. I mean, I can't wait to watch these two. Very different people, different ages, different times in their lives. They play golf extremely differently. But for Bryson, I mean, he's become must-watch TV. And it's not just because of what he does off the golf course. It's because the way he plays golf and the way he can kind of dominate the ball off the tee and the way he rolls it. I mean, that putt at 18 today, you saw the fist pump. You saw the excitement out of Bryson knowing he saved par and put himself in a potential position to be in that final pairing. I mean, I think when you watch Bryson, you get everything that's exciting about modern golf. When you watch Justin Rose, he plays a little bit like an old school player, especially now at 44. And so, I mean, you're talking about two completely different golfers. And this is why golf is so great. This is why major championship golf is so great. And this is why the Masters is the best golf tournament in the world, because you don't get a lot of this elsewhere. It's not always going to happen at a U.S. Open or at a PGA, but it happens time and time again here at Augusta National. We're going to get a lot of that tomorrow. I expect both of these guys to go out there and kind of throw their pitches.
Halfway home, I do want to get a pick from you fellas. Before we do, I want to knock one in for the fellas. Shane, I know you've shared the airwaves with Max Homa before, and I heard you say on the broadcast today there's not going to be a grittier round of golf this week than the one that Max Homa put together here. He makes his first cut since July of last year in a cut event. What did this day mean for Max?
You know, Max is a tough dude, and he's been a tough guy his whole career. I mean, he was a great collegiate player, great amateur player, burst on the scene on the PGA Tour. I think he finished his top 10 in his first event as a pro. And then, I mean, if you've listened to podcasts of Max's or read about him, I mean, it went away, and he couldn't find a fairway, and he was a lost player, and he never gave up hope. And I see a little of that guy right now as a pro. And to watch him make bogey at 1, he lifts out that putt, and we're following along, and I'm with Colt Knost, who's a good friend of Max's, and we're not cheering in the press box, but we want to see Max grind it out. And, I mean, he grinded out every single hole. It was incredible. He's not going to win. I don't think Max is going to win this week, but it was a win for Max. It was a win for Max fans. It was a win for the Masters. It was a win for golf. It's easy to give up when things aren't going your way. And he made par after par after par. And then he makes a couple of clutch birdies. I mean, go watch. If you missed his par at 16, go on Masters.com and watch it, because that is who Max Homa is. And you saw the emotion. The text I sent him, I cannot read on air. But I was very, very excited about the way he was able to play today, and I know he's excited as well.
Yeah, as characters on our playbill go, that is certainly one we love to have there, and we love having Max Homa here on the weekend. Shane Bacon, Doug Bell. We will have a pick after a quick break. Thank you, fellas. All right, a look here at your live odds to win the Masters following second round play. Rory McIlroy is your odds-on favorite, despite a pair of doubles. On Thursday, Rory right there near the top of the leaderboard. No one has ever made multiple doubles or worse in a Masters and gone on to win that Masters. Rory McIlroy, it's once again right there within reach. Post round of the Masters here on CBS Sports HQ continues. Doug Bell, Shane Bacon. One thing left to do, gentlemen. It's a club of 56. We'll see if it grows by one or it's another one for someone. A pick to win. Shane Bacon, who gets it done?
Give me Rory, man. I mean, I was so impressed today. You know, he played kind of flat on the first 9 today, makes the turn, hits his 2 best iron shots of the week, the shot into 13, ton of confidence. I mean, flipped it. And I love what he said after. You know, he said after in the Butler cabin, you know, I played 16 holes great yesterday. I played 2 bad holes. He's been the best golfer this year. Give me Rory. Get it done. Make history. This Masters has been too good already not to see it.
In 8 previous Masters, Bryson has never started with 2 rounds in the 60s. He's never gone 22 out of 28 fairways hit over the first 2 days. He's accurate. His putting stroke, he changed it about a month ago, opens it up now on the way back, just a minor little loop. He's hitting everything. Missed 9 greens today. The putter saved him. If Bryson keeps doing that over the weekend, oh, baby, reality TV, how big of a splash would that be? I'm going with the big man, Bryson DeChambeau.
Be still my heart. You're telling me we're running it back from Pinehurst. I mean, give me that final pairing right there, and let's feast on a Sunday. Doug Bell, Shane Bacon, fantastic stuff. We'll talk to you guys soon.